Uh, so I want to convene this meeting of the Engineering Committee for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District, September 17th, 2025. Garrett, take roll for us, please.
President Mark Moley.
Here.
Committee member Bill Grace.
Here.
Member Ken Londe.
Yeah.
Committee member Francis Cleveland.
Here.
And Director Bob Poltz let us know he would not be able to attend today.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Any changes to today's agenda?
No changes.
Okay. Oral communications, there's nobody here from the public. There's nobody online from the public. So we can move on from that then. New business, project paving.
Yes. So the topic before the engineering committee is to review and discuss the project paving for district projects. The district owns and operates over 190 miles of distribution pipelines in our system. The majority of our infrastructure is located in either city, county, or state right-of-ways. It is advantageous for us to install our infrastructure in the right-of-ways. If we install our infrastructure through private property, we have to obtain easements. There's typically an amount of money we would pay to the landowner to encumber a portion of their parcel with our infrastructure. So it's very typical to have the public utilities in the right-of-way, PG&E, Comcast, the water. So we did a deep dive into the Altavia pipeline replacement project and the 2021 CIP pipeline project for the district. I've included the encroachment permits. This details the requirements for us to work in the right-of-way and the special conditions that the county placed on us for some of their roads and the project paving. So looking at the 2021 CIP pipeline project, we entered into a contract with J&B Construction in August of 2022. The bid amount was just over $5 million to replace approximately 8,500 feet of water pipeline and to replace a 40,000 gallon redwood tank with a new 160,000 gallon bolted steel tank. The project included a bid item for a 2-inch AC overlay. So an overlay means that you're adding asphalt on top of the existing asphalt, increasing the elevation of the roadway by the thickness of the pavement. So we had 50,041 square feet of 2-inch AC overlay in the bid. We had 81,200 square feet of slurry seal. So slurry seal is an asphalt emulsion that appears to be like liquid. Sometimes it has 1/4 inch or even just sand fines in it. And the county in their standard detail will allow us to do a trench repave over the pipe and then slurry seal edge of pavement to edge of pavement. This is typical when the pavement's in good condition. We also had AC pavement replacement, including base course in Igo Way. Igo Way was a dirt road. We came in, installed a new water main in the dirt road, and then basically built a road, an asphalt road on Igo Way. So the quantity for the new road was 2,836 square feet. The low overall project bidder had a unit price of $4.20 a square foot for the 2-inch AC overlay, 85 cents a square foot for the slurry seal, and $85 a square foot for the AC pavement replacement, including base course for Igo Way. So the totals for that ended up being over $500,000. The contractor raised concerns about drainage of existing roadways and altering the roadway elevation by raising it up 2 inches, and recommended that we mill, so grind away the existing asphalt, the depth of the AC replacement, haul away all that material, and then place new asphalt so that the finished product would be very similar to the roadway before we started. We also had issues on Hermosa because we had a long history of leaks with our pipeline. And there was some concern from the neighborhood about damage to the base rock underneath the asphalt. And the fact that our pipe had been leaking constantly, that we would have to do more base course work on their roadways. So it included addressing that. And again, on Ziny Drive, we had to do some grinding and haul away. In total, we had an additional change order of $322,570. Now, because we didn't utilize all the slurry seal quantity in the bid, we ended up only paying $805,574.20 to complete the project paving. If you took the two numbers to add them up, it's closer to $840,000. So approximately half of the slurry seal was never billed. And instead, we just put down fresh AC because the road was in a condition that you could not slurry seal it. So that's for the 2021 CIP pipeline project. For the Altavia pipeline replacement project, in February of 2022, the district entered into a contract with Anderson Pacific Engineering Construction in the bid amount of $2,107,470. This included 5,900 lineal feet of water pipeline. The project paving included a 2-inch asphalt overlay with a quantity of 7,300 square yards. The overall project low bidder used a unit price of $30 a square yard for a total of $219,000 in the bid for the project paving. The district paid an additional $143,280 to complete the paving. This included $20,000 in digouts where troubled areas of asphalt were identified. The asphalt was removed, the base course was removed, new base was put in, and then fresh pavement on top. We paid $120,000 for an AC leveling course, which when you do a 2-inch overlay, whatever the profile of the road is will be mirrored, but 2 inches higher. So in order to have a level surface, the contractor filled in the uneven areas with hot mix and then put a 2-inch AC over the flat surface to make a nice roadway. And that was, and like I said, in total, $143,000 extra dollars to complete. We paid a total of $362,280 to complete the project paving. Now, staff would recommend that for future projects, more detail is put into the bid documents for the project paving. I have an example I can share if you're interested. Scotts Valley recently is looking at doing some paving in their city. And so in their bid documents, they include photographs of the existing condition of the pavement. And then they have dimensions like 20 feet by 100 feet, 5 feet by 20 feet, or whatever it is.
So more work ahead of time, either for your staff or the engineering consultant.
Correct.
To go out and document existing conditions, to then be able to come to incorporate that into the bid documents.
Correct. So if we have in the bid AC leveling course with a unit price, we could at least then lock them in on the unit price and then determine quantities in the field. That would be better than just giving a change order when we don't have any quantities and we don't have a unit price.
Right.
Also, the same thing with digouts. It has to do with quantities and then the lowest unit price you can get.
Right.
And when you do a change order, you're more or less at the mercy of the contractor to give you the unit price, and you can't really shop around unless you want to stop work and then hire a different paving outfit.
Yes. Right. Yes.
So that would be probably the wisest way to move forward with addition. If we have additional pipeline projects where we're going to be doing a lot of paving.
And for the rest of the committee, let me set up first. The reason, um, Bob and I had asked to bring this discussion to the committee was what the board was experiencing were significant change orders for paving either near the end of the project or we're getting close to closing out the project. And it was either the contractor identifying conditions in the field that said, oh, stop, we got to do, fill in the blank, what Garrett's describing, or the county or the state saying, oh, wait. In at least one of the cases, the county, and that's where I think most of our surprises come from, is the county saying, oh, now that you're here, you can repave the road for us. Thank you. And we end up having to say, well, and the board's feel is we shouldn't be tasked with that on a routine basis, in particular as a surprise at the end of project being significant change order. So that's the reason we asked to have this discussion. And with that premise, I wanted to then apprise the rest of the committee of my thoughts, Bob's thoughts on that from a board perspective, in an effort to mitigate change orders, in an effort to, if this is what we got to do, to be able to identify this up front, at least. So with that, I have other questions to ask on that specific, but I'd like the rest of the committee to delve into this first. So Francis, you
Yeah, I was so I was wondering, and you went through this a little bit, what it is that is unknown. And it sounds like there are technical things that are unknown, like what exactly the road is like before you're working on it. But it sounds like there's also, county coming in and saying, oh, you want to redo this road for us, So is there a way of planning not only for the technical side of things, but also for coordination with entities that may want to maybe work together to say, okay, we're going to do a pipeline here. Do you have any water, electrical or whatever else that you might need done at the same time?
So there are opportunities. Every 6 months, there's a utility coordination meeting with the county, and they talk about upcoming projects they have. Now, they might be looking at doing a paving project. For instance, on the screen right now, this is a paving project in Scotts Valley. The district is not interested at this time in replacing the pipes in this area. But if we were interested, then we could try and get in front of their paving, install our new infrastructure, and work with them. This did occur on Quail Hollow Road, where we ended up not having to do the slurry seal.
Yes, and that was a good cooperative there.
Right.
Ahead of time.
Right.
That saved the district some cost, at least in the initial.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if the alignment of projects happens, then yes, we can work together. But if we want to replace a pipeline that's not on their list of to do, then essentially we're required to meet their expectations as outlined in the encroachment permit. And I've included the encroachment permit if you want to dig into it.
Yeah, I saw that. But it sounds like the county is sort of the one who proactively comes in and says, this is what we're going to do. Is there something where you can say, well, we're thinking of doing this. When is a good time so that we can coordinate it? I mean, if it's in the same area.
Sort of the other way around.
Yeah, the other way around.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking also. If the county's being proactive to say, we plan on doing work there in Scotts Valley in the next 2 years, should the district be doing similar to say, county, we have pipeline work coming up in the following neighborhood or county right-of-way areas.
So that is the intention of the every 6 month meeting.
Right.
So there's the water district, there's PG&E, all the players in the county
Right.
go to this meeting. So it's about 15 to 20 people.
Okay.
And then each entity gets to go over what projects they're doing in the next 6 months, basically.
And is 6 months for us enough lead time? Ken is already shaking his head no. Is 6 months enough lead time for us to get in front of something like that? If the county is saying, hey, come April, we're gonna be repaving there. Do we have the opportunity to get engineering plans prepared, to get budget approved, to get permit, any other permits in place, to get bid documents, to get a contractor on board, to get that done before they pave in April?
I mean, I'd say
Yes is no.
anything's possible, but it whole
Jared,
strategy
Jared,
for 6 months.
after the meeting, do you think you can fly from here to your office just by, is that possible?
Sure, it's possible.
Yeah, they've got new stuff that can do that now.
So, anything's possible. Is it
It's unlikely.
It's unlikely or very unlikely?
Yes.
Yes, okay, all right, so,
I would say as an example, Brookside Drive, we were able to expedite because they were going to be paving. And in that instance, we did the engineering design in-house.
right,
And we had operations staff install the pipeline.
Yeah.
And this was a great savings to the district.
it was a good cooperative project.
Yeah.
But who was doing the paving? Wasn't the county,
It was the neighborhood.
it was the neighborhood.
Right.
So the neighborhood could wait. And they waited on their paving. Once they saw that, okay, the district was willing to work with them on that, so they held off.
I think that's the whole purpose of this meeting is
Right.
because what the county doesn't want is for them to spend a bunch of money paving a road and then have us come in and start saw cutting it and
Yes.
turn it apart. As a
Agreed.
matter of fact, they have a minimum time. I think it's around 3 years where they say they will not let you
Yes.
work in their road.
And if you must, they require the full-on replacement in kind, same as what they just did. Yeah, and it's often from intersection to intersection, man. It's not simply, oh, we had to dig.
I mean, the district, we have projects lined up for at least the next 5 years. And that information is shared with the county.
Well then, to
Whether they
that,
take pay attention to it.
yeah, to
From
that
a planning
condition of the
perspective.
county identifying. Would the county consider putting that off for a year?
I think they delayed the Coal Hollow project to accommodate the
Okay.
fact that we were installing a pipeline.
So
I
yes,
think
there is
The
some of
whole,
that.
yeah, the whole purpose of the meeting is to coordinate with the other utilities.
Right.
So that when they have that new paving project, like they just did Soquel Drive.
Yeah.
So for that one, it's more Soquel Creek
Mhm.
and the city water department.
Right.
They're the ones that had to get in and do their stuff immediately so that
Yeah.
once they redo Soquel Drive, hey guys, you're not putting in a new 24-inch main
Right,
like they are doing on Grand Hill right now.
okay. So,
I cannot believe that the county is only looking 6 months in advance. They are looking much further, and therefore there must be documentation that would be available for us to be able to see a year, 2 years planning of the county to see if it affects what we were planning on doing.
The meetings are every 6 months, but they're not only talking about the.
I mean, the meeting may be every 6 months,
Yeah.
but they've got to be looking a lot further out, and
Yeah.
that information has to be available. Now, it's conceivable that we have to go look for it. It doesn't just pop up in our laps, okay? Question on the specific one you were just talking, where the county thanked us for doing their paving. Was that on their list to be paved at any point that we know?
Which one, the Quail Hollow one?
Yeah, the one we just.
Well,
talked
yeah,
about.
so it's, I think they believe, it's called Measure D. Paving, I think. And so, yeah, there's a list of them that they have that they're doing. They just did El Soyo Heights. They did Ashley Street over by the library in Felton.
Here, as a counterexample though, Altavia, which is the project we mentioned. Altavia is a county maintained road and had not been county maintained in a very long time, so
So it was not even on their
it
list.
was not on their list, they did not
Okay.
have budget or
Right,
plan to
alright,
get to
okay.
it, but we showed up.
Because
and
we
tried
need to be
build it.
able to look forward to see what is on their list,
And
even if it's more than 6 months out.
Right.
All right? Because we can't respond that fast, they can't respond that fast. That's all.
yeah, and to the Alta Via example that Joel's bringing up. No, the county hadn't been in there for 20 years.
Looked like it, yeah.
Yeah, it was a road that was barely more than gravel in there because the asphalt was so deteriorated. We do work and the county says, oh, okay, now that you've done it, it's not return it just to a better than gravel road. You do the full on paving. And that's the angst that the board has with us. All right, well, how do we have some discussion, not at this 6-month meeting, but at a much higher level with county staff and our general manager to meet with probably Matt Machado, I'm guessing, to have that discussion with him to say, the board's not happy. The district's not happy, not, pleased to go do this kind of work.
We want to work together. We don't want to do the work for them.
Exactly.
I know when we, just based on the description I'm hearing from this road. When you go and do a patch, it needs to be fixed to something, right? The
Yes.
road that's already there. Well, if there's no road there, so you end up having to pave the whole thing anyway. Is there some way, and we can discuss that with Matt, to say, we're doing this project. We need the county to come with us and be part of the paving project. We want, we understand our skin in the game, but the county has to have some of this too.
And to my knowledge, on Altavia, the county didn't come through with anything. And I think it was more likely, we hadn't had any discussions up front. It's as we're getting close to finishing that we're finding out, oh, we have to pave it rather than return it in kind to that very poor condition. And it's then significant change.
To the discussions we need to have to say, this is the condition of the road, county maintained road, what is the county's position on the fact that we need to replace the pipeline?
Right.
What do we need to do? Our intention is to return it to the way it was.
Before we started to put the
Right.
pipeline in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Garrett, is there a certain minimum in the encroachment permits we're getting to what we have to?
Yeah, so the
Right, like, we
encroach,
can't just put gravel back, but,
the encroachment permit will state the rules for working in the right of.
but it doesn't necessarily state, oh, we need to do a leveling course.
Now, you can negotiate this, especially if you have Matt Machado's number, because he's the basically the director of public works.
Yep. Right.
So if you can convince him, then obviously the encroachment permit will be amended.
Otherwise, we're stuck with the inspector
Yes.
out there looking at the encroachment permit and saying, this is what I gotta go by.
Yeah.
This is all.
Yeah.
So you return it to, and it's not an encroachment permit that says, oh, and return it to the
Better than
existing
before.
poor conditions.
It does not say that.
But that's all we should be responsible for.
I agree, Ken, but that's not what the county ends up holding us to.
Well, then they should say, we should say, fine, this is what it's gonna cost you, the county, for us to bring it to a higher level than it is now.
But the county comes counter to that is, it's your pipeline. You need to replace, you want to replace the pipeline. You want to improve your pipeline water services. This is,
There must be something in the codes, and I'm no expert on this, that say that if you tear something up that is county or state, whatever, you're obligated to return it to the condition it was in before you tore it up. There must be something somewhere. And if I was the county, I would ignore that and ask you to pay for the whole thing.
Right, you're right.
We are allowed to be within their right of way. That's where we're at. We're in their right of way.
Right.
So when we do this work, it's up to the owner of the right of way, which is the county, to tell us exactly how they want it to be returned to them.
Yeah.
So that's why we need to have these discussions before we make the cuts.
Yeah,
So we at least understand what we're doing.
yeah. So we at least understand what we're doing. And if we have to, if the only way for us to put new pipeline into some of these neighborhood areas is to bite off and do the paving, knowing that upfront and putting it into the bid package that way is what we have to do.
Yeah, worst case scenario, knowing it up front. Best case scenario is working with the county, so they have some sort of, financial obligation as well.
Yes, yes. But it's gonna have to be a sales job, I think, to get the county to say it's improving your services, county, to your residents also with this. And, yeah, so.
So what type of information do you provide to them? And how far in advance, 6 months, a year, 2 years?
The county?
Yeah, to this meeting, so it could be PG&E
Oh,
as
the
well,
meeting?
but to the county, because they're the ones that obviously.
The meeting is a Zoom meeting and you can bring up any projects that you want to talk about at that time. The county, they're doing work at Watsonville, they're doing work downtown, they're doing work sometimes in the San Lorenzo Valley.
Okay, but there's no documentation other than what you've said in the meeting?
It's a Zoom call where you get to talk about your projects. That's what that is.
Okay, there's
And
no
otherwise
material
you'd be
where you
applying.
can look and
You
say.
don't have to attend either.
Okay.
Are those meetings recorded?
I don't record them.
No, do they record them?
I don't know.
I don't think that a 6-month update with all the rest of the utility providers there is the venue that we should be considering. We don't have the problem with change orders from PG&E. We have from Caltrans, because a lot of our stuff is in their right of way. I think we get more Caltrans coming to us saying, we are going to be doing work in this portion of the area. You have a pipeline there, get that pipeline out of our way.
Yeah. I would say the county is at the point where they will go ahead and pave the road and pave right over our valve lids.
Mhm.
And then when we can get to raising the valve lids, it's at our discretion. So, and the only thing they offer us is kind of a courtesy notice, we paved over your valve lids.
That's it? They
We
don't
were-
even.
We were here last week. We
A
paved it.
priori
So
knowledge.
for
that
Scotts
was-
Valley, they offered us the opportunity to pay their contractor to raise the
Oh,
valve
okay.
lids.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So we can either pay their contractor to raise our lids, or they'll just pay right over them, and then we can raise them when we can.
So the lids are buried then, right?
Under asphalt.
Yeah.
Correct.
Buried under that, that
2
was
inches
asphalt.
of
2 inches
asphalt.
or 4 inches of asphalt.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you guys are aware, but when the holiday slide happened by Highlands Park, we went to isolate the main line in Highway 9 and reroute the water through Glen Arbor. And we were not able to do that because there's a
It's
valve
covered
closed
over.
somewhere. And when we were trying to find where the valve was closed, it was causing high pressures on Hermosa, where we had all these leaks. And so it was determined that we should wait until after the Hermosa Avenue pipeline was replaced before we try and locate this mystery closed valve that might be paved over. And
Okay.
so,
Now, it still seems to me like there should be some documentation across all of the utilities. Maybe PG&E wants to bury some wires, maybe, the paving the new roads. us doing the pipes. But there should be some kind of master plan that at least says tentatively what's happening in the next 2 years or something.
The county has a plan for the road paving. I
Mhm.
believe it's the Measure D list. And now it has to do also with budgets. So if they have money to do this, then they'll do it. If for whatever reason they spend it on something else, then they might not do it and postpone it a year.
And
But
Francis,
at least we have access to that list.
Yeah, they sent it to us.
right, but
All right,
Francis,
so
to
we
your
can look
point,
and see, are we gonna be doing work
Yeah.
where they're planning, whether they do or not, on the doing the work?
We strive to align our projects, but
yeah,
it's not likely.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll give you an example, in Ewell Valley. We went in and we replaced the whole main line because the city was gonna do this work. Well, they got into a battle with Edison. And so we were in there, jumped on it, got it, and that road was not done for the next 10 years. So it happens.
right. And Francis, to your point of, they should know where all of your utilities are. You could say the same thing about the water district, but from the example that Garrett just gave us with, well, there was a valve out there that was
Mhm.
closed and we didn't know where. That's, the district has gotten better over the last 3 or 4 years now, since the master plan was completed. And the GIS work that you're doing to have all of this stuff documented.
Okay, so GIS does capture then where all the valves are.
Working on it.
Yeah,
More or
They're
less.
working on it, but they don't have it, they don't have everything.
the
yet.
new pipelines are a lot easier to document.
Right.
The existing pipelines where some of the portions might be abandoned, they're undersized 1.5-inch pipes and there's no tracer wire.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
I
you-
understand GIS and
Yes.
keeping them up to date. Yeah.
Right, right. But we just started that effort
Hmm,
3 years ago, 4 years ago. That kind of,
okay,
that kind
so
of time
still a work in progress,
It is.
yeah.
still very much a work in progress. Yeah. Yeah. So. Okay. Anything more from the committee commenting on this or?
Well, I guess my question would be, is there anything that we should recommend be done? We've sort of talked about, getting information more than 6 months ahead, but a year ahead and so forth.
The
Is there
recommendation-
something we need to actively do?
The recommendation I
proactively do?
got from the conversation is to reach out to the county and establish the high level conversations, say like, we
Yes.
want to work together with you
Yes.
and,
Okay.
and what,
Yes.
what can we do to facilitate that?
Right.
Good.
And so far, the relationship between us and the county has felt like they dictate to us what's going on. We had a pipeline break on Bear Creek Road about 3.5, 4 years ago. It wasn't conclusive as to whether the pipeline broke and that washed the road out. District strongly felt that it was the culverts that the county hadn't maintained that washed it out, and that's what caused. But the county was dictating, and our pipe was in there right away, so we ended up, okay.
We went to court and I believe it was a 50-50 judgment. Right?
I don't,
Want to share it?
That's my understanding of what happened.
don't,
My understanding is we installed 2 valves on each side of this slope failure
did,
because we knew that this was an imminent problem.
did,
And then there was a problem. We were able to isolate it immediately.
yes,
The county came in and built a wall. And then we were able to reestablish our pipeline. And then we
Yeah.
had to end up going to court over
Right.
this. And it was determined that it was 50% each.
No,
Right.
okay,
but from my perspective, it seems like we are doing work that the county should be doing in a number of cases, or that at times the county dictates to us what we can and can't do, and it's not we haven't had a good working relationship since I've been involved on the board with county roads and maintenance.
Have they ever shared an expense? Has that ever happened? Like I said,
So for the Qual Hollow project, there was shared because they were planning on slurry sealing the road.
Mhm.
So we
Yes.
did not have to slurry seal the road.
but just that.
That's the one I'm aware of.
Yes, yes, I'm not aware of,
Any others?
I'm not aware of any others, but I do recognize that one as being a cooperative with the county that we ended up saying yes.
Sure.
Garrett's been here
2
a
years.
little more than 2
Oh,
years.
okay.
I've been involved on the board 4.5 now. I haven't seen it. And the reason I'm citing myself is Joel's been here for quite a while, but I don't know of
I
anything.
mean, I can't think of an example where we were gonna do something and the county came in and said, hey, do a better job and we'll pay you for the difference.
Right, right. Or,
That would be nice.
or
but I
we
don't
will,
think
we
we're
will
gonna.
cover portions of,
Sure, share it.
so,
Or-
but to their point, I don't know how often we have reached out to them proactive.
And maybe there's a world for a more proactive, like instead of just applying for an encroachment permit, we say,
Yes.
hey, we want someone to meet us on site and we're gonna look at what
And
areas
that's-
need more than the minimum.
And that's where I'm suggesting to Jason to have that higher level meeting. Not with all of the rest of the utilities, but with the county, because that's where we've been getting, in my mind, the change orders and not only the county, but, what was the private roadway where we ended up doing this retaining wall for,
Monin Way.
okay, for 300,000? Because we do that towards the end of the project and well, but we can't just leave it the way, that's the way it was before we started.
Sure.
But we end up doing this. How do we more proactively work with the roadway owner in those cases also to, yeah. So I don't want to say just county, but roadway owners.
Yeah, are
Right.
there other any examples of private roads that you've had to change the pipeline on?
Well, Brookside is one.
Because I know our road is private and we maintain the road.
Right.
And it's better maintained than most
Yes.
Santa Cruz County roads.
Right. Yeah, Brookside is a good example of cooperative work. Those are two to cite though here.
Yeah,
So you were also mentioning in the beginning that there were maybe technical things that you could put into contract or RFPs
Yeah.
to provide it.
Yeah.
Was there sort of a set of things that you have in mind?
Yeah.
It sounds like better documenting existing conditions
That's right.
is what
That-
Garrett was
That's
citing.
a main one, but.
Yeah. So this is an example here where you can see they have details
Mhm.
where here is a grind and overlay 4 foot by 4 foot, 16 square feet. Number 12 is grind and overlay 47 feet by 7 feet.
Right.
And so each one of these gets a price.
Yeah,
Now, when you're in the work, if for some reason it's not 47 by 7 feet, it turns out being 50 feet by 10 feet. The contractor will bill you for the difference
Yeah.
between the bid at 47 feet by 7 feet and the as-built
But
at
you at
50
least
feet by
have,
10 feet.
you at least have that much
Yeah, so
incorporated into
the
the bid
advantage to having something like this is you'll have a unit price
mhm.
telling you, okay, this is how much it is per square foot.
That's important.
And then
yes.
you can use that at your discretion when you're doing actual paving and he says, well, this should really be another 3 feet here. And you can say, no, we're not gonna pay for that, build it per plan. And then maybe there's a big crack in your brand new project that you just did. Or you can say, yeah, you know what, let's go ahead and extend it another 3 feet, let's get that crack out of here, I want a nice finished product.
So Ken has a point, and then I can wrap up on this side.
right. Getting back to dealing with the county, we cannot be the only utility, and we're a utility that is dealing with the county. Are we in contact with our counterparts in other groups that are dealing with the county who may or may not have similar problems with getting the county's cooperation financially in these different projects, and if not, we should be.
Our neighbors, particularly Scotts Valley.
Scotts Valley, there's water districts further down in the county, in parts of the county that are little South County and all, that are, all right, they must have similar problems. Are we in contact with them? Do we discussions with them for planning for?
To talk about that point specifically, do they have, what's their experience with getting the county to participate?
And how do they
Cover
mitigate it?
costs.
And how do they mitigate it?
Yes, yeah. So I think I like Ken's suggestion, and that's simply reaching out to some of your counterparts, Jason.
We have a monthly general managers meeting.
Right.
So that'll be a topic of discussion.
Good, good, okay. I like the ideas coming up, yeah, good, okay. So I don't see any members of the public online, and we don't have any action to forward to the board at this point on this or further discussion there, so. Staff has this committee's input on where to take this. At some point, I think it would be informative, maybe to the board, to just say, I don't know, but here's what you've been doing.
Yeah, I can
Maybe
bring a report back on the discourse and where we're at.
Yeah. Not anytime soon, but at some point, presenting it to say, here's how it's changing something on a future pipeline project where we are involving paving or road repairs, and here's what. Yeah, we're doing different to that then. Okay. Moving on then to unfinished business, we have the capital project listing. And provided us a 11x17 to see if that's helpful.
It is very helpful.
So, what do you want to tell us about this, Garrett, or what did you? Or was this, well, you asked for it, board, committee?
Well, you did ask for it. but,
We did.
So the district's biannual fiscal year 25-27 budget includes 47 projects on the 5-year capital improvement program. 25 of the projects are budgeted in this fiscal year.
That's the first column.
So of the 25 projects budgeted for this fiscal year, 2 of them are in construction, the Brackenbury Forest Springs Consolidation Phase 1 and the Caltrans Highway 9 house abandonments and Felton Empire Trench Repair. We have Highland Tank out to bid right now on the district's website. We will have Redwood Park Swim Tank and Echo Tank and the Spring Booster Pump Station. Construction documents are scheduled to be completed in November, and then we'll put those on our website to advertise for construction bids. And for the grant, we have till December 2026 to complete the construction. The CZU P-Vine Supply project, we're doing the engineering plans in-house. We have a site visit scheduled for next week to go out there with operations and environmental to look at the existing condition of the diversion and to identify trouble areas where we're going to need vertical supports on the pipeline to maintain the 1% slope, and to identify locations for the helicopter drops. And just to compare the drawings from the survey with the actual field conditions, we expect to have the plans completed this winter.
Okay.
We could be in a position to possibly start buying pipe in the spring. We have $2 million budgeted for this fiscal year and another $2 million budgeted in the next fiscal year. So depending on how the financing works, we might have to wait until that other 2 million becomes available to complete the entire project.
What, just a point of clarification, what
Sure.
is a fire surcharge?
That's a special fee that the district implemented after the CZU fire, and it's specifically for CZU recovery projects.
Okay,
So we can't use it for like a tank project or.
right. And that money is coming in. In other words, it's real. It's not
Yes,
just
It's
expected.
money that you've been paying every month, $10.65 a month on your bill.
Good.
Uh,
I
that
didn't notice, but
everybody,
yes.
everybody else pays,
Right.
in an effort to raise 5 million over the 5-year period.
Okay, I figured that's what it was, but I just wanted to be
Yeah.
clear. Yeah,
looks like the 5 million will be reached next fiscal year, so.
Okay.
Sunset.
And do we really have 2 million of that unspent yet? Really?
According to this.
Well,
According to
well,
others.
is it real that we have 2 million left?
Well,
Because
this 2 million includes the money that will be coming in this fiscal year as well.
oh, okay, all right, because I thought we had spent so much already on
We
fire
have,
recovery.
we have, but a lot of this is coming from
Okay.
the income.
Okay, and as long as we're talking about that specific item, Garrett and I have talked about it before, but I want to see some kind of a project plan on this, because this construction effort is so different than anything that the district has done for the last 40 years that I'm not comfortable approving budget when it does, when it comes to that, and the first thing budget item that you're pointing out is buying materials, which will be a significant cost. But you're mentioning where we're going to have helicopter drops. Okay, that should be part of the project plan. What's the staffing level? Who's going to drive that? And
We'll know more of that after the walkthrough.
right, but all of the details backing up. How are we going to do this? Because as you're describing it, Garrett, this isn't something that we would go to a general contractor and say, general contractor, give us a bid to drag pipe in there with your crews pulling it in by hand.
It would be cost prohibitive to have a contractor do it. I
Right.
think most likely scenario is the California Conservation Corps might help us,
Right,
or we might have to hire temporary labor.
right,
That
Okay.
is specifically for the CZU
Right.
T-Vine pipeline.
right. But I want to see all of that developed.
So we
Sure.
have a draft of the project implementation plan,
Okay,
so.
good.
Yeah.
At some point then, why don't you circulate that to the engineering committee? So that we could begin to chew on that. I'm not saying soon. I'm saying work on that, have the walk. Talk about everything else, helicopter drops, when would this happen, time of year, with the bird surveys that have to happen, and the 82 other details that you got to work out to put pipeline on the surface out there. Because what the district did in 1984, 85, I don't know that we can do that 50 years later, given labor requirements, environmental conditions, and other restrictions that we didn't have to deal with back then. So,
Yeah, I think being a self-performer will be in our advantage for a lot of those concerns.
I agree, but we self-performed it 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
It's been discussed in the past on a limited number of these. If we could have things like Gantt charts or something that show us the main
Sure.
issues for that particular project, when we expect to do them, how much we have done on them, et cetera. The graphic, yes, there we go. All right.
He's way ahead of you.
Oh, was this in the handout?
No, this is
No,
in the.
all right,
This time around.
this
all
is
right,
in the,
yeah,
PowerPoint.
this would be really helpful if we had a chance to see it as part of the agenda attachments or something.
So maybe.
So we don't ask the dumb questions.
I can send it to you.
But, well, this is all projects. Maybe for this Peavine pipeline project, to get it specific to that one. That would then link in with, here's the project implementation plan, and here's the anticipated schedule. And here's the anticipated, when we were gonna need financing and, rather than, here's all of the projects, go figure out which one of these you want.
Yeah, just a few of them.
Yeah.
The critical ones that we're working on, not the whole list.
Show us that for Piva.
Sure. You want to see it now or later?
No, not now, not now. I
Okay.
wanna see it,
Not
I
now.
wanna see it with
Yeah.
the implementation plan.
So the San Lorenzo Way Bridge Pipeline Replacement Project, this is a project with the county. The county's replacing a bridge on San Lorenzo Way. We have 95% plans from the county. It shows an 8-inch potable water line that goes across the bridge, connects to Highway 9, and then also connects to Rose Acre and to San Lorenzo Way. There's also a 12-inch line shown in the plans. This is for the raw water line connection to the city's Loch Lomond raw water pipeline. We are going to provide review comments to the bridge engineer with the county and let him know that we want to proceed with the potable water line and that we want to have the supports installed for the raw water line and the casing installed in the abutments for the raw water line, but we want to wait on installing the raw water line to a future date. In order to accommodate the demolition of the existing bridge, we'll have to install a temporary pipeline across the river. We are going to do an installation similar to the temporary pipeline we have at Brackenbury right now, which is a cable draped across the river with a water line attached to it, and then tied into the existing pipes on the other side. Hopefully operations can do this for us at a great cost savings. And so then the majority of the money will be spent installing the potable water line on the new bridge. They're showing that they're going to be going into contract with the contractor in January, and then they're going to be done by December 2026. So we'll be looking at relocating our utilities in March. The Lion Slide repair project, we have $500,000 budgeted for this fiscal year. This should be sufficient money for updated survey and to get updated geotechnical recommendations. District staff will be designing new soldier pile retaining walls for our access road and restoring the road in its existing location. Right now, we've written a letter to FEMA to ask for a scope change so that we could possibly be reimbursed for restoring our road. Cal OES has written a letter of support for the scope change. We anticipate that building a couple retaining walls and restoring the road in its existing location will be a significant cost savings compared to the cost of building a new access road. We still have $5 million budgeted in the next fiscal year and a $5 million forecast in 27-28. We will not need that money if we just go ahead with the retaining wall.
So I question keeping that 10 million then in this budget plan, since everything that you're leaning to or considering says don't do it that way. Don't put in the new roadway. It's cost prohibitive. It probably won't work. Going up a slope like this, you've provided a number of reasons why don't spend that 10 million, but it still shows up. So I don't think it's prudent to keep that 5 million and 5 million, in particular for the 26-27. Where else should we be allocating that 5 million? I'd like to suggest, but it's only me at this point. It's the Felton Heights tank.
I'll second that.
But I don't think the committee should be providing, dictate or I don't know if even recommendation. That's just a thought at this point.
So engineering and operations, Jesse, newly appointed as the operations manager, we're meeting weekly, and that's one of the topics of discussion is doing a prioritization of these capital projects.
Okay. Right. But that
We can
10 million,
we can reallocate that money.
10 million aspect. When my colleague who's not here is in this, I expect he would continue to just shoot holes at that 10 million based
that
on
the-
what we've heard at this point.
The Lion Slide repair
Yes.
or,
Yeah,
okay,
yes.
So Brookdale tank recoating and improvements, operations staff is looking at replacing PRV components so that we're able to remove the tank from the system and essentially make the Brookdale zone part of the Quail zone. We're doing some hydraulic modeling to see where the highest velocities will be so we can make sure everything goes smoothly. Once we're comfortable with the isolation, then we will draw the tank down and have an inspector come out to look at the interior of the tank to identify a full scope of work so that when we put it out to bid, we've captured all the work and we won't be forced to take change orders by the contractor. So we have a preliminary estimate for the Brookdale tank recoating, and it's around $650,000. The current plan is to reallocate some of the money from the Blair tank recoating project to do the Brookdale tank recoating project. And then see what we have left over.
So both of those are showing completed by June next year.
Right.
So in the next, is that 9 months? 10 months? 10 months? Okay, in the next 10 months, you're gonna do that?
We will do Brookdale tank and we're gonna have to take some money from Blair tank.
Right, but are you gonna be able to do both of those?
No.
Should those be on the CIP list the way they are shown right here? Or should some of that money, because are you telling us things with this that, well, no, we're not gonna really be able to do it that way, and you already know that. I'm questioning the timing, and should they be on showing us that you're gonna have them complete by June next year, or is that?
Well, this is a board approved budget from the
Right.
June 5th meeting, so any changes we want to make
Right.
to the CIP list and budgeting. Will have to come back to the board
Agree,
to change.
right, agreed.
And as we gain more information about the specifics of a project,
Mhm.
we'll be able to fine tune
Okay.
the amount of money that we're gonna actually need.
Right.
Like for the line side repair, once we have the plans developed, we can get a more accurate price if it's $2 million and not $10 million.
Right.
And for the Brookdale tank, once we have it drained and we have it inspected.
Right.
Then we'll know if it's really gonna be 650,000 or if it's gonna be $1 million. We don't
Right.
know yet.
And I recognize that, yes, the board approved this.
Right.
But when the board approved this, Jason wasn't sitting in the chair that he is now. So if we didn't have a GM, I felt like I was, I don't know if forced or I had to say yes to this because we didn't have anything else that we could in fairly short work develop. But to Director Foltz's recommendations of we should be starting this discussion much sooner from the engineering committee perspective than talking about it in May of the year when we're trying to approve budget in June. So
The Brookdale tank recoating and the Blair tank recoating was initially put into the budget in 2021.
Right.
And it's been delayed
right,
but we kept it on the list for this upcoming budget because the
Yeah.
intent is that we want to do as much as we can.
okay. And I guess to the point of at least starting the work on both of those before the end of June, maybe not necessarily completing them. If, as long as you are starting the work, having that in the showing budget allocation, needing to have that as part of a contract
Yeah,
Makes
at least we can get an inspector out and we can spend staff time on these projects when there's
Yeah.
budget.
Okay.
And I would say that, the Brookdale tank, once we take it out of service.
Right.
For the system, it's gonna be imperative that it's recoded and put back in service within 30, probably to 60 days.
Right.
Because you don't want to be in an instance where you need a large volume of water and that tank is
Right.
out of service.
Right.
So in the contract, we're gonna have specific language about the time schedule. Fire hardening pump stations, the district has completed the engineering plans for the roof replacement. This is a grant project. We have to spend the grant money by 2027. So those plans will be put on our website for contractors to bid probably in October, if not September. Once we get the price back for replacing the roofs on some of our existing CMU buildings, we'll have a better understanding of what a full pump station replacement will cost, because the next phase of the project is going to be for a CMU building with a fire resistant roof to replace an existing wood pump station that we have. And so we'll see how many we can get done with the grant money.
So this is multiple pump stations.
Yes, there are 5 pump stations that are just getting the roof replaced. And then there'll be more projects coming out based on the pricing, and how much we can afford. The Caltrans Highway 9, we're done with, we're just have to do some closeout paperwork. Bear Creek meter shop generator and power drop, this is an operations project, so the electricians in operations are getting 3-phase power to the meter shop on Bear Creek Road. Bennett Spring fire hardening, CZU South Reservoir Distribution System, and Lompico intertie pipeline burial, all have been awarded to an environmental consultant for some environmental permitting. Bennett and Lompico, we've awarded the survey to Tuwil. We expect to get the survey back in, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. At which point we'll have enough budget for staff to come up with some engineering plans, but there's not sufficient budget to actually perform the construction.
Okay.
CZU South, we haven't even done the survey yet. So all we've done is the environmental permitting on South Reservoir Distribution System. This is a FEMA project. So it's possible that we could accelerate and provide more budget to that project if we want to aggressively pursue it. Keep going down the list, heavy duty utility trucks. This is not really a project, this is for ops.
I think the rest of the, rather than talking about the rest of these, and I see that the time that we are at being beyond 4 o'clock. I think the rest of these are fairly, I don't know, straightforward or purchases that
Okay.
I don't have any questions about being on the budget.
Okay. Staff has also prepared Gantt charts for all 25 of the projects that are in the current budget, including the projects that span multiple years into 26-27 budgets. And the 2026-2027 projects where we do not have budget at this time, but we will have budget July of 2026. Staff has also done a first pass of the project prioritization policy. Joel, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, and Mark, you can let us know if we're going over or if we're taking up too much of your time, but we
I
can
don't-
brief in showing you what we've got so far on this.
I don't know from the rest of the committee of, do you have a hard stop or do you want to hear it?
I don't have a hard stop.
Okay, all right. Proceed, Joel, take another 3 minutes to.
Sure, yeah, so this was suggested that we take a look at having some kind of numerical way to prioritize projects. I could see this being especially useful as, after we've gotten through all of our non-discretionary projects.
Right.
We have X amount of dollars left. What are we gonna spend that on? Try to get the most bang for whatever buck.
You mean you have $5 left where you're gonna spend it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes,
about $5 million, yeah. $5 million.
$5, not 5. Right, okay,
Right, but like
Yeah.
using that wisely and what is gonna bubble up from the on the list but doesn't have funding to actually being performed. So we were looking at two different impacts. Firstly, there's the priority impacts. So this is trying to gauge, you know, how important is this project for us to get done? And there's a couple different numbers that most of this is coming from Bob Foltz's,
yes,
you know, preliminary
right,
path at this, but we're looking at, for example, a fire flow score if a project is improving fire flow capabilities, a score for customers affected. And I'll note on that one that version 1.0, which was Bob Foltz's first pass, included customers affected as like a total number that we divided by. And that caused the data to be kind of skewed and not very
Yep.
useful.
Yep.
So version 1.1 includes that as a score instead of as a raw number.
Yeah.
We're looking at the life cycle asset of something so that, you know, ranges from, you know, this is new or middle aged to this is beyond life expectancy but functional, or this is beyond life expectancy and not functional. Obviously that getting the highest score. We're also looking at the risk score that the water master plan calculated. And there's an additional district concern score for if something is helping us address either an environmental issue, safety issue, or a regulatory compliance issue.
I think this is good information.
Yeah.
It's obvious that you're responding to discussion that we had at this committee a few months ago. I don't remember how many months, but I think it would be good to bring this back then with that scoring and with anything else changes wise. I think that that should be an agenda item sometime before the end of the year, so that the committee could see what it is that you've done in response to earlier discussion that we had. So bring it back then for another round of discussion here, so that we could then, I think most likely, submit it to the board eventually. So. And this is how you end up ranking projects then.
Yeah, it's the graph.
Okay,
Okay.
good. I'm used to seeing things like this in other books that I read or data assessments, so.
Yeah, obviously we have limited funds, so it could be helpful to.
Right. I don't want to go into it here since we don't have it on the agenda today, but we'll talk about it at a subsequent meeting.
Yeah, it would be very helpful to have a copy of it.
Sure.
So I'm not saying when, I'm saying get to a point where you're comfortable saying, okay, we think we've got a reasonable revised draft. We want to get your take on it, committee now. And send that back to us. Put it on an agenda for future meeting.
Okay.
So I think we've talked enough about the capital project listing, future agenda items. I don't know if you have anything for.
So we're proposing to bring back an update to the district standard specifications and details.
Okay,
So that would be for the October meeting.
okay.
And
So-
anything else that you'd like to discuss?
So telling us then, I would hope, what you changed in standards or what you're proposing to change to, better respond to the conditions that we've been experiencing.
Yeah, we'd bring an updated, an entire packet and with the request that you recommend to the board to adopt it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'd like you to focus though on, out of the 50 sections that we have, here are the 6 that we've made significant changes to.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be almost not able to be talked about without a summary sheet of some kind.
Exactly. You give me the 2-page summary Not the 88 pages of this full-on specs, the 2-page summary of, here's what we want you to focus on. And here's the recommendation of. So, yeah.
Okay, anything else you guys want to talk about?
I'm assuming that future agenda item will be the scoring matrix brought back.
That I'm saying for this project prioritization. Was it policy or plan or
Yeah.
whatever that matrix is part of that. So because I know that we made other comments to that draft policy. When we talked about it at the meeting, that was one of them. So yeah, just
We'll do that in November.
I think it makes sense. If you're ready by then, I would certainly.
I'm always ready, Mark.
That's what I'm talking about.
And you're gonna fly to your office by flapping your arms also, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He didn't say it was gonna, he said it was possible.
All right. Darryl, what have you been smoking?
I just got to read about it first.
What?
Yeah, the
Oh,
author
he
said
read
that-
it, Chris. Okay, all right, all right. Okay, then with that, I don't know of anything else we need to. Think we can adjourn,
All right.
okay?
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott.
And of course, there are